Split, concatenate, and transpose are very useful features for rearranging text. We're going to start with information that could be in two columns, but again, this could apply to many columns. And so in this case, we're going to take the names of these famous scientists here and separate them into two columns. Right now, if I sort them, let's say I sort from Z to A, you'll notice that they're sorting on their first name. There's no way to sort them on their last name. So right now, William Harvey comes to the top. And if I do from A to Z, then A to Lovelace comes to the top. But if I want to separate them into two columns so I can sort them first and last, or so that I can separate them for other purpose, I'm going to use the split command. So I'll say equals split. And then I'm going to refer to what's called the argument. What do I want to, what's the part upon which I want the split command to work? In this case, it's going to be cell A1. And so what do I want to split on? So now I have to put a comma, quote, space, quote, comma, and then a end parentheses. Now what's happening there is the commas indicate the next feature in the argument, and the quotes indicate the delimiter. What do I want to delimit on? So in other words, whenever there's a space, I want it to separate. And so if I click on that, you can see it separates into first and last name. Now, as with all other functions, I can click on the actual formula and I can copy it down. And so I'll copy it down like that. And you can see that when I do so, it copies down and you can see all the names and so forth are translated into two columns. So now I could sort based upon last names. So you'll notice over here, if I sort on last name, we can see that Leonardo da Vinci comes to the top and then Heisenberg and so forth. And so what we're going to do now is we want to concatenate. Concatenate means to tie together two columns. So we're going to tie together columns B and C to put it back into a single column like column A. So I'll use concatenate, con meaning together. So I'm putting these two things together. In this case, I'm going to start with B1. And then again, the question is, what do I want the delimiter to be when it's done? And in this case, I put a space back in. So I'll put comma, quote, space, quote, comma again. And then the final part of the argument, which is C1, that's the part I want to add in. And so now I'm adding B1 to C1 with a space in between, again, ending it, bracketing it with parentheses. And now you can see the names are back in one column again. Once again, I can take that, copy it down, and you can see that it's all now arranged in a single column. Now, the final feature here is what we refer to as a transpose. Trans meaning across, so transpose means to change a position across. So we're going to click on sheet 2. And let's say I want to put these all in a column across the top, all the columns into one row across the top. So I'll use the equals transpose command as before. And now I want to get information from sheet 1. So I'll simply type sheet 1, that's its name. And then exclamation point indicates I'm actually working with the sheet. And I'll take column A, which starts with A1. And then I want to go all the way to the end of A, no matter how many entries there are. So I'll just type A and then end the parentheses. And you can see now that what was once rows, each one now is devoted to a column. In other words, columns are switched to rows, rows are switched to columns with the transposition. So if I highlight this, let's say I start here and I highlight all of this. Now I can take that information and I can rotate the text using the text rotation feature so we can actually see the names. And if you highlight the columns, you can execute a function on the columns. Namely, if I drag, if they're all highlighted, the ones of interest, if I narrow one, they're all going to narrow, and now we can rearrange them this way. So you can see that, again, 3 features: split, concatenate, and transpose, all very useful for rearranging text.